to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This One's Wife, the private, not private tour. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The Prince of Pink Pancakes has arrived back in the United Kingdom. Huzzah! I don't hear you cry. It's a private tour, we're told, and yet we seem to know all the details about it. How strange. It isn't the case, of course, that the paparazzi and other journalists have been camped, waiting for his appearance, landing at Heathrow presumably, and then deciding, right, we'll just follow him around and we'll see where he goes. Naturally, there has been orchestrated PR. As I explained in an article yesterday, certain members of the press have been given access to Harry on the basis that they are seen as favourable or fair towards him. This is a private visit. Effectively, Harry is a private citizen. Yes, he has a royal title, but he's not a working member of the royal family, and therefore, the fact that he has come to the United Kingdom, he does so on a private basis, and yet we get to hear all about it. Naturally, people are interested to learn what he is doing, but if he so wanted it to be the case, he could go about what he needed to do without anybody knowing, because, flanked by security, behind gates, in places that people aren't allowed to go, they might speculate as to what he's doing in a particular place if they bothered to follow him around. But if Harry wanted to ensure that his trip was private, that his various appointments were not spoken about, then there's a lot that could be done to ensure that was the case. Certainly there are leaks, but you're not going to get leaked photographs of him having a balloon sword fight with a young girl, or him exiting all smiles from his Range Rover. No, this is all orchestrated, and once again it demonstrates the hypocrisy of the Fanta-pubed prince, that it's spoken about as a private visit, but it's not private in the sense of being kept quiet. The Times reports that the legacy of Princess Diana, Princess of Wales, failed to reunite her warring sons, so it perhaps came as little surprise that despite being just 7 miles apart, on the 3rd anniversary of Elizabeth II's death, Princes William and Harry had no plan to meet. Well, it's no surprise, because Prince William and his wife, Catherine, Princess of Wales, are maintaining a no-contact regime in relation to this one's wife, and that also, by extension, must include Harry. It is not grey rock. Those that repeatedly say that the royal family are grey-rocking this one's wife and Harry do not understand the principles of it. They've imposed a no-contact regime following excellent and expert advice, whereby they don't have anything to do with them, have no communications with them, don't talk about them, know not to allow them into their lives in any shape or form. That is no contact. Grey rocking is where you have involvement with the narcissist, but try and minimise the responses that you give. I've explained elsewhere, grey rock doesn't work. You need to strive for no contact. But this is why there's no plan to meet, because Prince William is sticking to his no contact regime in relation to this one's wife, because she is a narcissist, and by extension that includes Harry as a consequence of his involvement with this one's wife. Returning to Britain on Monday, for the first time since he lost a long-running court case with the Home Office over his security, a spokesman for the Duke of Sussex said that the Prince had gone to St George's Chapel in Windsor to lay a wreath and flowers on his grandmother's tomb to privately pay his respects, but naturally needs to tell us that's what he was doing. Meanwhile, a 20-minute drive away in Sunningdale, Berkshire, the Prince of Wales was remembering Elizabeth over tea and cake in a sunlit room full of Women's Institute members. "It's 3 years since my grandmother died," he said. "She was a big part of the Women's Institute. She used to talk about it a lot. This is the first time I've been and experienced the WI, so this is a huge honour for me. I can't believe it's been 3 years." Before William's arrival, it became clear that an extra cake fork might come in handy when Kensington Palace announced that the Princess of Wales would be joining her husband. The princess said that she and the children had been crafting in every corner of the house over the summer holiday. She spoke to the women about her beekeeping and the importance of community. They heard about the late Queen's visit to a hospital in Reading, while one woman showed a treasured family photograph of her husband's grandfather meeting the Queen in 1961. It then talks about their enjoyment of the cake and their involvement in the discussion, and talked about the children also. But elsewhere, Harry had his own thoughts about challenging brotherly relations. While speaking to Declan Bitmead, winner of the Inspirational Young Person, the Duke asked about family life and whether he had any siblings. The teenager replied that he had a younger brother. "Does he drive you mad?" asked the Duke, and Declan replied, "No, we get on fine." Harry quipped with a smile, "You know what? Siblings." When told that the 17-year-old from Oxted in Surrey and his brother went to the same school, the Duke remarked, "You're at the same school." That sometimes makes it more challenging. The Duke was in London to present the award for the most inspirational child, aged 4 to 6. Harry has been the patron of Wellchild, a charity that helps seriously ill children and their families, for 17 years. This was his 15th time at the ceremony, once again demonstrating his dedication to this particular charity. He told guests, "So much has happened since those early days. For me, for you, and for Wellchild. The world has thrown a fair few challenges our way. But through it all, Wellchild has remained rock solid in its mission to give children and young people with complex medical needs the chance to thrive, not in hospital, but at home, surrounded by family, friends, and community." This year, the event marked the start of a series of engagements described by critics as a pseudo-royal tour. It's the Duke's longest visit to Britain since he and the Duchess of Sussex came in 2022 and stayed for his grandmother's funeral. He is expected to travel to Nottingham on Tuesday to visit the community recording studio, where he will announce a substantial donation to children in need. Then he has another engagement in London the following day. Accordingly, Harry has come on his private tour, and we're being told all of the details about what he's getting up to, which so far doesn't include any meeting with the King or with his brother William, which isn't a surprise. But it's all being done as part of a PR exercise. It is an attempt to rehabilitate his image as a consequence of the criticisms that he's made of his family. And it's evident that this is being done in an attempt to try and re-establish relations with the royal family. Now, why hasn't this been done earlier? It wasn't done earlier because this one's wife believed they didn't need the royal family. She thought, look at us, we've got Spotify, we've got Netflix, the A-list lovers. Hollywood is welcoming us, but that all soured rather quickly. And, once again, demonstrating the self-absorbed nature of the gruesome twosome, driven by the narcissism of this one's wife, when it all changes, they engage in the hypocrisy of deciding, we actually need you now. Be under no illusion, this is a carefully orchestrated PR exercise in an attempt to try and ensure that people see the aspect of Harry that is genuine. He has always been involved in charitable exercises and he enjoys it. The problem is, for this one's wife, as I explained elsewhere, it doesn't bring home the dollars. Nevertheless, it's being utilised as a stepping stone to try and get people to like Harry once again, with a view to a potential reintegration within the royal family for both him and this one's wife. He's been sent as the errand boy, basically to go and do the things that he does reasonably well, with the expectation to test the water and to see that if there is an appetite, an opportunity to rebuild bridges, not because they're genuinely motivated by a need for reconciliation, but instead motivated by selfish needs, which are, we're running out of money and we need to use the royal name once again. We either need a bung or we need to have some form of involvement again because we've not been succeeding on our own. If they were genuinely interested in reconciliation and harmonious relationships, they wouldn't have behaved the way that they had done previously. If they were genuinely interested in reconciliation and harmonious relationships, they would have sought to repair the damage much earlier. But they didn't, because they believed that they didn't need the royal family. Harry, his resentment at the way that he perceives he'd been treated over the years, exacerbated by the self-absorbed nature of this one's wife, who arrogantly believed that having gone to Britain, grabbed a title and then returned to the United States, that she could do it with Harry and they do it on their own without the necessity of any further involvement in the royal family. She still doesn't grasp it, but many other people do, that she is only known for the man that she married, and they are only given, hitherto at least, the support that they were because of their involvement in the royal family. Remove themselves from it, they couldn't sustain it on their own. Harry, because he's never been used to doing that, he's not held down a proper job. He's always, and it's not his fault, this is the world that he was raised in, always had that machinery and apparatus around him. For this one's wife, she's deluded. She thinks she can do it. She thinks that she's brilliant. But of course, it hasn't transpired. And at the end of the day, no matter how deluded you are, if you can see the contents of your bank account being drained, then action needs to be taken. And so this is what we see. Harry dispatched to build the PR with a view to trying to reopen the situation with the royal family. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.